This is the first time that Mexico wins 4 games in a row in a World Cup. This is Mexico's best performance in a World Cup. Why did Mexico win? El Vasco is known as a very balanced coach. If you go back to all of his teams, even playing in club teams, coaching in club teams, he usually prioritizes older players, players with experience. So it was a surprise that he started Mora today for the game. Probably one of the most important games in Mora's short career and in Vasco's career as well. He gave Mora a chance to show himself in front of the world. He put the team in the back of Mora. It's crazy to think that Mora is only 17 years old. He's one of the youngest players playing in this World Cup. I didn't think Mora was going to start. I saw him as a sub coming in the second half if Mexico is losing or if the game is tied. But El Vasco Aguirre was very aggressive from the start. El Vasco Aguirre played very conservative against South Africa, South Korea, and Czechia. So that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought the game was going to start off really close, really physical, but it was the opposite. El Vasco Aguirre decided that this team was going to attack since the beginning of the game. Mexico beat Ecuador because they decided to attack from the start. They didn't wait for the second half like they did with the other opponents they faced in the past. Mexico pressed high and did not allow Ecuador to breathe. He freed Mora so he could attack all over the field. El Piojo, Mora, and Quiñones connected and they created a lot of chances. Mexico should have gone up at least by 2 more goals in the first half. Raul Jimenez missed the first chance in front of the goalie. El Piojo had an amazing game. He has 3 assists in the World Cup so far. He's probably been one of the most criticized players in the Mexican team coming into this World Cup, but he's been playing his best football. He's probably playing the best football in his career. He doesn't just attack, he defends, he helps in every aspect of the game. I think that's why El Vasco Aguirre loves him and he plays him all the time. What was the key for Mexico to win? Mexico has never had the greatest players historically, individually. For example, we've never had a Messi, a Cristiano Ronaldo, even a player like Figo. But Mexico has always played well as a team. Mexico has never had world-class players, so they have always relied on playing good as a team. So because Mexico doesn't have world-class players, even compared to like the Ecuador players, so Mexico relied on team effort this whole World Cup. El Vasco Aguirre understands the Mexican player really well. He knows the weaknesses and strengths of the Mexican player, and that's why he's been successful with this team. El Vasco Aguirre focused on making a good team, making them play good as a team, and you saw it in this game. Mexico hasn't received a 0 goal this World Cup so far. Ecuador might have better players individually, but Mexico played better as a team. The key to Mexico winning was that El Vasco Aguirre did not rely on the individual players and relied on a team. All the players raised their level. Like I said, El Vasco Aguirre understands the Mexican player and he understands that we don't have world-class players. We have to create a good team to compete. El Vasco Aguirre made this team believe that they could beat anyone. The entire game, the players played with high intensity. I was worried that Mexico was going to slow down when they scored the second goal because that could happen to some teams sometimes. When they're winning, they start to relax and they stop doing the stuff that got them up. And that's when they allow the opponent to tie or even win the game. But this Mexico did not do that. This Mexico played really well with high intensity throughout the whole game. They probably had one of their best games. If I'm not exaggerating, the last time Mexico played this well that I could remember was in the 2018 World Cup against Germany. Mexico had a pretty much a perfect game. If you like my content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now back to the video. Now the next question I have is this Mexico real? Or is this Ecuador a fraud? This is Mexico's best opponent. Ecuador is the best team that Mexico has faced this World Cup so far. They finished second in their qualifiers, which is really good because they're competing with Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay. They came into this game after beating Germany, which is probably their biggest win in their history. They have a few world-class players. The Ecuador players are worth way more than the Mexican players. This Ecuador team is a fraud. Ecuador played a horrible game tonight. The team never really competed tonight. If you look at the whole game, they never really had a lot of chances. They were dominated by Mexico. That's why they ended up in the third place in their group. They played very inconsistent. But what is next for Mexico? It's most likely going to be England. Can they beat England? I mean, England is one of the strongest teams, as we all know. They have great players, world class players. They're really inconsistent, so they don't play good as a team, but individually, they probably have one of the best teams, probably just behind Spain and France when it comes to players. Mexico has a home field advantage playing in El Azteca, especially playing the England players or the English team because they're really not used to the altitude in Mexico. I think the altitude is going to play a bigger factor than it did against Ecuador. Mexico will go into that game really motivated after beating Ecuador, and they have a lot of momentum. I think Mexico has a good chance of beating England just because it's in El Azteca with all the altitude. Then Mexico comes really motivated with momentum. If you would have asked me in the beginning of the World Cup if Mexico could beat England, I probably would have said no. But putting all the factors together, I think they actually have a chance. It's still going to be a very difficult game for Mexico. They have to play like they did against Ecuador. They had to play a perfect match. And they also have to hope that England has one of their worst matches in their history. Let's see how far Mexico can make it.